Luli steps onto the second floor of the rank tower, where the warrior rank challenge waits. A huge, clumsy rabbit holding a giant mallet stands there, looking proud like some kind of hero. The rabbit swings the heavy mallet at Luli, thinking he's unstoppable. But Luli is way too fast. He dodges easily, making the rabbit look like a fool swinging at empty air. Very quickly, the rabbit starts gasping for breath. The heavy mallet is clearly too much for his tiny brain and tired body. In a flash, Luli zooms forward like a streak of lightning and crushes the rabbit, ending the fight instantly. The rabbit, who thought he was tough, does not even get a second chance. Without wasting any time, Luli walks up to the third floor, the poison rank floor. Here stands the so-called scholar rabbit, who looks weak and confused, trying to act smart. This rabbit desperately looks around, scanning left, right, up, and down, but he cannot even catch a glimpse of Luli's speed. Before the foolish scholar can even figure out what is happening, Luli uses his rending burst blade not once but twice, slicing through the rabbit and finishing him in the blink of an eye. That scholar rabbit probably should have spent less time reading useless books and more time training. After finishing him off, Luli steps into the fourth floor of the tower, evil spirit rank. Here waits a dancing staff rabbit, spinning a long staff like he is some kind of performer in a circus. This rabbit pretends to be fearless, talking big like he is ready for a real fight. Luli shows his sword calmly, ready for the battle. In a blink, the dancing staff rabbit lunges forward, his staff stretching out unnaturally. It almost touches Luli, but Luli moves with sharp reflexes and dodges without any trouble. His sword meets the staff, knocking it aside easily. Both of them take a step back, then jump into the fight again. The staff and sword clash again and again, sparks flying. During the fight, Luli calmly thinks that the strength of this evil spirit rabbit is close to someone like Fengya. But the good thing is, this time, Luli knows he can win. Luli does not waste any time. He quickly uses his powerful attack, Hidden Dragon in the Abyss. A massive, terrifying dragon head made of flames appears beside him, looking ready to eat everything in sight. The fiery dragon launches itself at the dancing staff rabbit, and the poor rabbit gets smashed into the ground like a broken toy. He keeps sliding across the floor and crashes hard into the wall, leaving a big crack behind. The hit is so heavy that the dancing staff rabbit cannot even stand up properly. The rabbit keeps coughing like an old man with a cold and admits he cannot fight anymore. He tells Luli that the real challenge is waiting above. Luli steps up onto the stairs looking calm. He praises the dancing staff rabbit for putting up a decent fight, even if the rabbit was nothing special in the end. Luli enters the fifth floor where the demon rank challenge begins. The air feels heavier. He takes a moment to think about the demon rank. Memories of his last battle with a demon-ranked monster come back to him. He remembers how badly he lost that time, how powerless he felt. Standing ahead is another demon-ranked opponent, the Shadow Art Rabbit. This rabbit is all dressed up in a full warrior's suit, trying very hard to look cool. But honestly, he looks like a kid playing dress-up. He even carries multiple swords to look scarier. The rabbit talks big, showing off his 5 swords and saying he will only use one move with each. If Luli can survive all 5 attacks, he will win. Luli feels something strange. It seems like his movement is limited, like an invisible pressure is pushing down on him. Dodging will not be easy here. Even so, Luli tells the Shadow Art Rabbit to come in without fear. The Shadow Art Rabbit draws the first sword and strikes. Green energy slashes swirl toward Luli like a violent storm. Luli tries to dodge, but the attack is way too fast and wild. He pulls out both of his swords to defend himself, barely managing to hold off the attack. Still, the power is too much and gets hit hard. His body flies backward across the floor, leaving him injured. While sliding back, Luli looks at the rabbit and asks what kind of crazy sword that even is, because that attack was just way too unfair. Standing there like some kind of show-off, the Shadow Art Rabbit answers calmly that the first sword is called Childish. It is supposed to be innocent like a kid, but still mischievous and annoying. He acts like the name is something clever, but it sounds more like the rabbit is proud of being a brat. Getting ready again, Luli tightens his grip on both swords and waits for the next move. He signals the rabbit to go ahead and try again. Without missing a beat, the rabbit pulls out the second sword and charges. A sharp green beam of energy blasts straight toward Luli. Using his crossed swords, Luli barely manages to block it, but the force pushes him back hard across the floor. Struggling to regain balance, Luli quickly uses his rending burst blade. Luckily, the move works well enough and he avoids getting seriously hurt this time. Acting all proud like he just did something amazing, the Shadow Art Rabbit reveals that the second sword is named Youthful, full of energy like a teenager who thinks he knows everything. Still feeling shaken from the last attack, Luli reflects on the situation. Only 2 swords have been used and it already feels unbearable. Defending against the next one seems almost impossible. He realizes that if he just defends, he will lose. He must fight back at the same time. Quickly, Luli summons a shadow clone of himself, creating another fighter by his side. Not stopping there, he also uses Hidden Dragon in the Abyss twice. 2 massive flaming dragons appear, one behind him and one behind the clone, both roaring and ready to destroy everything. Seeing this, the Shadow Art Rabbit nods like he is impressed but acts like he is still the boss. The rabbit then draws the 3rd sword and declares it proudly. The 3rd sword is called Prime Years, showing off like a man at the peak of his life who thinks he is unbeatable. Without giving Luli a moment to breathe, the rabbit attacks. The green slashes from the 3rd sword tear apart the 2 flaming dragons like they are made of paper. They do not even slow down. The slashes then strike Luli directly. Blood sprays into the air and Luli crashes onto the ground, landing on one knee. Severely wounded and struggling to stand, Luli hears the rabbit babbling more nonsense, bragging about how Prime Years represents peak power and perfect sword skills. Honestly, the rabbit should brag less and focus more because Luli, even hurt, is not planning to lose. Standing there, the Shadow Art Rabbit asks Luli if he still wishes to face the 4th sword. It talks like it has already won. Luli, coughing up blood without stopping, still refuses to give up. His spirit is far stronger than his body right now. Suddenly, his eyes flash a deep red and everything about him changes. He activates his Asura mode. Red horns grow from his head, red lighting all over his body, and he transforms into the terrifying form of the Azura skeleton boss. With new strength burning inside him, Luli tells the rabbit to bring on the next attack. The Shadow Art Rabbit, looking a little surprised for once, admits that Luli is no ordinary challenger. Acting like it still has everything under control, the rabbit draws its 4th sword. A thick, green aura covers its body, like it is trying too hard to look dangerous. Luli moves faster than ever, almost disappearing from sight. The rabbit attacks at the same moment and green energy blasts through the room. In a blink, the rabbit ends up standing in the other corner, sword dripping. The attack has landed perfectly. Luli now has a deep cut across him and blood is pouring out like a broken fountain. It is a brutal hit. Calmly putting the sword away like it just finished sweeping the floor, the Shadow Art Rabbit reveals the 4th sword's name, Dusk. It is supposed to represent a person in their silver years, having achieved full mastery, one simple-looking strike that aims to kill immediately. The rabbit cannot stop bragging. It says Luli has already achieved something incredible by forcing it to use the 4th sword. It even boasts about its past, claiming it used to reap thousands of souls with just these 4 swords. Honestly, the rabbit sounds like an old man stuck in his glory days, desperate for someone to listen. Luli stays down on one knee, blood dripping, coughing painfully. Even so, he speaks calmly, saying exactly what he expected. Hearing this, the Shadow Art Rabbit gets curious and asks what he means. Luli explains that after entering the evolutionary blood pool of Wu Yu, his body has been improved beyond its old limits. He slowly pushes himself to stand up again. The red aura around him grows thicker, wilder, and much more dangerous now. Facing the rabbit with burning eyes, Luli challenges it to draw the final sword. The Shadow Art Rabbit smirks like he has just found a worthy toy. He admits that Luli has truly earned the right to face his 5th and final sword. The rabbit moves with a grand air, making a big show out of drawing his last weapon, like he is some kind of big boss. Luli watches closely, knowing very well that the next move will decide everything. His heart is steady, but he knows it is about to become a storm. The rabbit finally draws the 5th sword. It looks strange, like a ripple of water instead of a real blade. Acting all wise and mysterious, the rabbit announces that this sword is bladeless and is named Life End. He explains that it represents what he realized after death, after becoming a ghost knight and meditating for 100 long years. Probably 100 years of sitting and getting more bitter and boring. According to him, a normal blade can only cut flesh, but this sword can cut the enemy's very soul. Talking like some old philosopher nobody asked for, he tells Luli to prepare himself. Both of them rush toward each other. This time, it is not only their bodies fighting, but even their very spirits are colliding in the air. The clash is heavier than before. The Shadow Art Rabbit slashes wildly. Multiple strikes land on Luli, but something feels different. Luli realizes he is not just hurt physically. His body is frozen, unable to move properly. Looking ahead, Luli suddenly sees a giant scale floating before him. On one side of the scale, he sees himself sitting, and on the other side, the Shadow Art Rabbit sits proudly. Above both of them, huge swords hang, ready to fall at any moment. It is the scale of life's end. Sitting there, the rabbit keeps talking nonsense. It asks if life even has any meaning at all, then answers itself saying no, life is full of bitterness. Sweetness is so little compared to all the suffering. It acts like it has found the ultimate truth, but really, it just sounds like a depressed fool who gave up too easily. Just after finishing its sad speech, the scale moves. The side with the rabbit drops lower, and Luli's side rises higher. Luli quickly understands that this attack is not just a normal fight. It is a debate, a battle of thoughts and beliefs. Speaking out seems to shift the balance of the scale. His words can save him. He starts speaking, saying that bitterness and sweetness must exist together. Without one, the other has no meaning. Life needs both to be real. His words make the scale tip back in his favor. His side lowers, and the two sides balance out once again. The shadow art rabbit, who looks like he has spent way too long reading sad poetry, argues that all beings exist based on balance. If that is true, then pain and happiness should be equal too. It goes on mumbling about how human life is too short and many people just live in circles, stuck in boring routines. According to him, people chase happiness like fools until they die and turn into dust. Luli listens, but his spirit is strong. He replies that life may be short and unfair, but even then, life carries meaning just by existing. Hearing that, the rabbit scoffs and continues its endless sadness. It says life is just a small drop in the giant ocean or a single grain in the endless desert, acting like nothing matters at all. After the rabbit's depressing speech, the scale tips again. This time it moves down toward the rabbit's side, and Luli's side lifts up. Death feels 1 inch closer, and the pressure becomes heavier. Refusing to be defeated, Luli speaks up again. He says that even a single drop can create giant waves. A small rolling grain of sand can cause a powerful sandstorm. Even the smallest life can cause great changes. The debate between them continues, fierce and intense. Both hold on to their views, clashing like fire and ice, in a battle where even life and death are hanging by a thread. In the end, deep inside the illusion, a tiny seed begins to bloom even under the heavy snowstorm. From that little seed, a small green plant pushes through the snow. Then more and more plants start popping up one after another, filling the frozen land with life. The cold illusion cannot hold any more and crack apart completely. Luli and the shadow art rabbit find themselves back on the 5th floor of the ranked tower, standing in the real world again. The rabbit slowly puts his 5th sword back into its sheath, admitting that he has lost. The rabbit thought that all the years he spent meditating after death had helped him understand the real meaning of life and death, but now he realizes it was just a thin layer, hiding the truth, not revealing it. Luli speaks wisely, explaining that the meaning of life is different for every person. 10,000 people will have 10,000 different answers. It cannot be locked into one idea, just like there are no 2 leaves in the whole world that are exactly the same. The shadow art rabbit sits down in a corner like a tired old storyteller. It keeps repeating Luli's words in its mind, finding them interesting, as if it finally learned something useful after centuries of wasting time. The rabbit tells Luli to move ahead, saying that Boss Rabbit is waiting for him now. Luli steps up the stairs with a nod, saying a simple word of appreciation before disappearing upward. Behind him, the shadow art rabbit murmurs that they will surely meet again very soon. It sounds less like a threat and more like the start of a strange new respect. Luli enters the rank tower's 6th floor, known as the Ferocious rank. He reflects quietly, thinking that his current strength is still a little below the level of a true Ferocious rank. He is curious and excited to see how big the gap really is. But when he looks ahead, he gets a surprise. Instead of a strong, roaring enemy, there is just an old rabbit sitting calmly in front of him. The game board is placed neatly between them, and there is an empty stool waiting for him. The old rabbit looks at Luli and asks if he knows how to play a simple game 5 in a row. Luli has no interest in wasting time on games. He immediately transforms into his Asura mode, red horns glowing and lightning around him. He rushes toward the old rabbit with full power and slashes with everything he has got. To his shock, his attack goes straight through the old rabbit like it is smoke. Luli stops, puzzled, wondering if this old rabbit is nothing but an illusion playing tricks on him. He steps forward and tries to touch the old rabbit, but the moment he reaches out, the old rabbit suddenly grabs Luli's fist tightly. The old rabbit chuckles like an old scammer, praising Luli's body like he is inspecting a prize cow at a village fair. Luli is even more confused now. This old rabbit is clearly not an illusion if he can touch him. Without giving up, Luli unleashes multiple rending burst blade attacks. His swords fly fast and sharp, but every single strike just passes through the old rabbit like cutting air. Nothing works. The old rabbit simply smiles, enjoying himself, and teases Luli, telling him to go even faster. It feels like he is treating Luli's serious attacks like a child's punches. Trying harder, Luli attacks with even more speed and force, but nothing changes. It is like trying to fight against the wind. The old rabbit shakes his head slowly, clearly bored now. He says Luli is still too slow. Then, to make matters worse, he lazily picks up a small pebble from the ground and flicks it casually toward Luli. The pebble hits Luli directly on the forehead. Despite being small, it pierces through the skull of Luli like a bullet. Luli feels the sharp pain, stumbles backward, and falls onto the ground, completely knocked out. Later, Luli slowly opens his eyes, feeling dizzy and beaten. He's back on the first floor, poor rank, right in front of the dumb carrot-eating rabbit he had crushed so easily before. The tiny rabbit is smacking him on the head with its little carrot, looking proud like it just defeated the king of the world. The little rabbit raises its carrot high, ready to whack Luli again, but freezes mid-air the moment it sees Luli's eyes open. Its tiny face turns pale and it quickly scurries behind its big pile of carrots, hiding like a coward. Peeking out nervously, the rabbit grumbles that Luli woke up way too quickly, clearly upset that its fun has been spoiled. Luli sits up slowly, still feeling dizzy. He looks around, confused, trying to figure out what is going on. His mind races, trying to analyze everything. He wonders why he is back on the first floor. Even if he failed to pass the 6th floor, the ranking exercise should have been completed, and he should have been allowed to leave freely. From behind the carrot pile, the little rabbit snickers like a naughty street kid who just pulled a prank. It calls Luli an idiot and laughs, saying this is not any ranking tower. Looking at Luli with mocking eyes, it says he looks just like a fool who is being played around with by the hallmaster. The rabbit proudly reveals that this place is called the Rabbit Cage Tower, a prison for death row inmates. Once inside, there is no getting out for the rest of your life. The face of Luli darkens. He demands the rabbit to repeat what it just said, not willing to believe such a ridiculous situation. Meanwhile, far away in the main hall of Dan Yu, Lady Wu Yu is lounging comfortably on a glamorous chair. In front of her is a huge office desk stacked high with piles of papers and books looking like a mountain of boring work. Wu Yu flips through papers lazily and sighs, complaining that the receipts are piling up way too fast. She wonders casually about how her disciple Luli is doing. Looking proud but a little too relaxed, she reminds herself that she must not spoil him too much. The road of growth must be walked by oneself. Smiling lightly, she decides to take a small nap, completely unaware of the mess Luli is stuck in. It is now the 5th day of the Fantasy Moon Game crisis. Cities all over the place are covered with thick, heavy clouds. The streets are silent. No sound of traffic, no busy footsteps. Only the cries of hawks and eagles fill the air, their sharp eyes watching from above. Some of them even land on top of abandoned ambulances, showing just how lifeless everything has become. People walk around in a daze, eyes hollow with trauma. Shops, schools, businesses. Everything has come to a stop. Life is frozen in fear. On one lonely road, a mother sits by the sidewalk, crying her heart out. Nurses carry her unconscious child toward an ambulance, and her husband tries to comfort her by tapping her shoulder gently. Begging through tears, the mother pleads with the doctors to save her child. One of the doctors, worn out and exhausted, promises they will do their best. The ambulance rushes off carrying another desperate hope. It reaches the Marketplace Hospital, where tens of ambulances are already parked, their sirens dead but their warnings still clear. The hospital is packed, overflowing with cases just like this. Inside one of the wards, a nurse makes a frantic call to a doctor. Patient No. 649 has suffered cardiac arrest and emergency action is needed. The doctor arrives quickly, his face tight with worry. He sees the situation and immediately orders the nurse to use the defibrillator and start CPR. Every second matters, but the pressure is crushing. The nurse, panicked, informs the doctor that all operating rooms are already full. More than 40 patients are still waiting in line, and there is simply no space. The doctor pushes on anyway, using the defibrillator, pressing down for CPR again and again. His hands move fast, but hope slips away faster. Stephen, the heart monitor, gives a flat, cold line. Life is gone. The doctor announces the death of patient No. 649 without a hint of ceremony, his voice tired beyond words. The nurse breaks down, tears streaming down her face. She weeps that this is already the 34th death today. Not a single life saved. The doctor stands silently for a moment. Then he mutters bitterly that he has treated so many patients throughout his life, but today feels different. Today, technology itself feels more terrifying than any virus they have ever faced. The nurse, eyes full of tears, asks the doctor if there is really nothing more they can do. She sounds desperate, full of guilt. The doctor shakes his head heavily. There's nothing left. All they can do now is keep the patients alive by pumping them with nutrient fluids, keeping their bodies from collapsing. Everything else must be fought from within. Only the trapped players themselves can save their own lives now. Far away inside the game world in the city called Neutral City, also known as Paxis, the situation is no better. This city, once known as the City of Hope where fighting and killing were forbidden, now lies in ruins. Buildings are burning wildly, trees are charred black, and shops have been smashed apart. Thick smoke fills the sky, and the air smells like metal and ash. This place, that once served as a peaceful hub for players to meet, trade, and laugh together, has turned into a graveyard. The players who entered the game after the merging storm through the streets like mindless beasts, everyone they find. In one street, a lizard-like man drags a helpless player by the hair across the ground. The player screams for mercy, crying for help, but nobody comes. The lizard man, looking like a discount villain from a bad movie, doesn't care at all. He orders others to search every corner and make sure no one escapes. His voice is cold and full of pride, as if this destruction is a game to him. Inside a broken house nearby, 3 players hide, trembling. They peek through tiny holes in the wooden window, watching the nightmare unfold. One of them, his face pale, whispers that they are doomed. Anger fills his voice as he curses the corporation responsible for this mess. He vows that if he ever gets out, he will sue them until they are crushed. The blonde player among them breaks down, saying he cannot take it anymore. His voice is full of fear and desperation, wondering when this cursed game will end. The big man with them stays calm. He reminds everyone that complaining will not save them now. Their only hope is to stick together and survive until outside help comes. Hearing this, the blonde player nods, trying to find courage. The other one agrees too, saying from now on, they are not just teammates, they are brothers, ready to live and die together. The big man smiles faintly. He says that true bonds are born from suffering. If they hold on and fight side by side, there is still hope to make it through this hell. The broken peace does not last long. A giant monstrous creature, half woman and half serpent, smashes through the house like it is nothing more than weak cardboard. Her blood-red eyes shine in the darkness, and her long tongue flicks out like a snake, tasting the fear in the air. She chuckles in a chilling voice, announcing that she has found her prey. The big man, who had just given everyone hope, quickly shouts for a defensive formation. He recognizes her immediately, the bone-eroding serpent, a monster straight out of nightmares. Instead of standing and fighting, the other 2 players panic. Their faces turn pale, and they run for their lives like cowards, leaving the big man alone. The serpent lady does not waste time. She grabs the big man and tears his head clean off like she is picking fruit from a tree. With a wicked grin, she chomps down, savoring it like a fine meal. To her, player souls are the best-tasting treat in this ruined world. The most innocent-looking of the 2 cowards whispers to the blonde boy to split up and run. Blondie nods quickly, trusting him. But the moment the blonde player turns to flee, the innocent one stabs him in the leg with a sword. The blondie screams in pain, unable to move now. His so-called brother has betrayed him without even blinking. The blonde player curses him loudly, calling him a traitor. The fake friend only says a half-hearted sorry while running away like the rat he truly is. The serpent lady, enjoying every second, announces that none of them will escape. She breathes out her bone-eroding breath, a cloud of death that melts their bodies like acid. Flesh falls away from bone, and screams fill the burning air for only a short second before silence returns. After finishing them off, the serpent lady stands proudly, licking her lips. She mocks the players, calling them cold-hearted and ruthless, saying they are no better than the monsters they fear. Then, as she swallows their souls one by one, she pauses. Her eyes narrow as she notices 2 more figures standing calmly in front of her, unfazed by her horror show. She smirks, finding it interesting. Looks like not all the players have been scared away yet. The 2 players step closer to the serpent lady. One looks like a young boy and the other is a girl. Both are wearing black robes, hiding their faces. The boy speaks first, asking the serpent lady if she has seen a handsome dark-skinned guy who fights with 2 daggers. Hearing the question, the serpent lady laughs like a crazy villain from a cheap horror movie. She mocks them, saying it is just another player, and refuses to answer. The boy's eyes flash coldly. Without wasting a second, he moves faster than lightning and slaps the serpent lady across the face with his flaming hand. The slap is so heavy that her head jerks back violently. The robe slips off the boy's head and his face is revealed. It is Ah Fei, the younger brother of Lu Li. Without hesitation, Ah Fei activates his infinite firepower. Both his hands blaze with intense blue fire, burning hotter than anything around. In the next breath, he unleashes his 10,000 bullets attack. Tens of thousands of fiery blue bullets shoot out of his hands like a raging storm, all flying straight at the serpent lady. She barely has time to blink. The bullets slam into her with full force. A huge explosion rocks the street, sending debris flying everywhere. When the smoke clears, Ah Fei stands tall over the serpent lady. He has grabbed her neck tightly with one hand, lifting her off the ground like she weighs nothing. His face is calm but deadly. He demands one last time if she has seen the person he is searching for. When no clear answer comes, Ah Fei loses all patience. He starts punching her face again and again without mercy. Blood splatters everywhere, painting the ground red. Each punch is filled with burning rage and pain. He does not stop, turning the once feared serpent lady into a broken mess. Finally, the girl beside him steps forward and removes her hood. She is a little chilly. She calls out to Afi gently, telling him that the serpent lady is already dead. Hearing her voice, Afi stops, but only to burn the body of the serpent lady completely, leaving nothing behind but ashes. He tells Little Chilly they must find another target and keep searching. Little Chilly, heart aching, runs up to him and hugs him tightly from behind. She pleads with him to take a break. If he keeps going like this, he will burn himself out completely. Afi says coldly that he does not care. But Little Chilly, holding him tighter, says she cares. She reminds him that everyone needs them right now. She needs him more than anyone else. I hope that you liked today's video, and if you did, hit that like button as today's goal is 1,500 likes. Comment next part down below for the next part. Also, consider subscribing with the notification bell on to get notified as soon as a new video drops onto the channel. You can also join the channel to support me financially and watch videos before public release. I'll meet you in the next video. Until then, thanks for watching.